We'll start our woven wheel by coming up through the outside of the circle, down through the center. We'll do this for each line, coming up through the outside and down through the center. For a larger woven wheel, we could add 2 stitches to create 7. We're left with this star-like pattern. Come up through just beside center. You'll notice your thread comes over top that next straight stitch. We'll slide our needle underneath the next straight stitch. And continue this pattern going over and under until we complete the wheel. Gently place the thread where you want it instead of pulling it tightly. This will become more important as you weave more and more around the star. Continue weaving until you've covered the outside of the original circle. Once you're happy, on your next under, come down through the bottom and secure. The next stitch we'll do is the running stitch, which is a pretty easy one to learn. Come up through the back and down along the design line about 1/4 inch forward. Move forward slightly underneath and come back up on the design line. Continue this pattern going up and down until the line is complete. You can vary the stitches in length and size, or you can keep it consistent. Once you're finished, secure it at the back. The leaf stitch or fishbone stitch is a great stitch for leaves. Come up at the top of the leaf and down towards the center to make a straight stitch. Come back up slightly to the left at the top of the leaf. You'll begin making cross stitches across the center of the leaf, coming down on the middle right side. Then come up on the top right, and you'll complete the same, moving over to the left. Continue this pattern all the way down the leaf, keeping the stitches as close together as you can. The blanket stitch can be used for very decorative borders on your embroidery. Begin by making a straight stitch, coming back up through the top left. We'll now begin hooking the thread as we make our stitches across the design line. Come down through the bottom, and you can either slide your needle or hold on to a loop at the top and catch it with your needle as you come back up. Continue the same pattern. down through the bottom of the design line, hold a loop, and catch it with the needle coming back up through. Once you're finished, make a small straight stitch across to hold the thread in place and secure at the back. For a curved blanket stitch, use the same technique but come in slightly closer at the bottom. Begin the chain stitch by coming up through the bottom at the end of the design line. Come back down through the exact same spot and slide your needle across to the end of the loop. Catch the thread as you pull the needle through. Avoid pulling too tightly as you want the loop to be a little bit loose. Continue the same pattern, inserting your needle through the exact same spot. And you can either slide your needle or come all the way through, saving a loop and catching it as you bring your needle back up through the fabric. Once you finish your last loop, make a small straight stitch across the loop to secure it. To create a smaller chain stitch, simply make smaller loops as you go along the design line. Make your last loop and a straight stitch and secure it at the back. A stem stitch is a textured rope-like line. Start by coming up at the end of the design line, forward 1/4 inch, leave a loop, and come up through the center, catching that loop on top of the needle. Continue the pattern, coming forward 2, catch the loop, and come back up at the end of the last stitch, also the center. You can also make these much smaller for a more detailed look. And secure it at the back. The Lazy Daisy is a detached version of the chain stitch. We'll begin by coming up through the center, back down through the same spot, and either slide your needle and catch the thread, or move down and up through the fabric again at the end of the flower. Be careful not to pull too tightly, and make a straight stitch to secure the loop. To start the feather stitch, come up at the top of the design line and back down through the right side. You can either slide your needle or move down and catch the loop as you come back up through in the center. Now move to the left side, completing the same pattern, catching the loop or sliding your needle through to the bottom and pulling up through the center. On your last stitch, make a small straight stitch across the loop to secure it at the bottom and secure at the back. The satin stitch is great for filling in spaces. Come up at the top left corner of the space and back down through the bottom corner. Come back up on the same side you went down on and continue the pattern going across the space. For even lines, divide the space into halves and continuously fill in the halves until you've filled in the space. And secure at the back. The seed stitch is pretty easy to learn. It is basically straight stitches, but placed randomly and at different lengths. To start your French knot, come up through the back and wrap the thread twice, or 3 times for a larger knot, around the needle. Bring your needle back down where you came up through, and making sure to hold on to that excess thread as you pull through. This will keep the knot nice and tight. The back stitch is a great alternative to straight stitches. Come up at the end of the design line and move forward a 1/4 inch. Underneath the fabric, move forward another 1/4 inch and back down at the end of the last stitch. Continue this pattern.